I'm fine. Everyone's fine. Hi.
Just so you can be cranky! That's not how this works!
What the is Holly?
Oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god. Watch this now.
You know we're gonna have to take off
Yep,
the
here we
topic.
go. Welcome everybody to the Renegade Realm Podcast, episode 111. Woo! God, thank you all so much. Can you hear me? Is that working? Is my ear, fuck. Wow, thank you all so much.
You gotta relax. It looks like you're having an earthquake. The way your camera's shaking, it looks like you're in the middle of an earthquake.
And it's so
See, this is
hot.
why I was drinking, DeMarco.
All right, welcome. Thank you guys so much. I'm so sorry for the delay. Nothing was working. Not my camera, my audio. I can't even walk you through the steps that I took just to make this show happen. I was about to lose. Anyway, who cares, right? Behind the scenes stuff. Thank you guys so much for being here. Shout out to It's Timmy, Highlander Grimm, Andrew Cullinane, Barry Donnellan, the Game Adaptation Newscast, Frost, Beano, Red Hood, Arcane, BT Maverick. Let's see who else is here. God, you guys, thank you guys for hanging out and being patient. I worked it out. I was like, if I keep canceling shows, everyone's just gonna be done. And Lotus Esprit, thank you so much for being here. And Limit to Hero, the Shadowling Dragon, Wolf King. Whew. Anyway, thank you guys again. I have a code to give out because I don't have any. It's been rough. It's been a rough time, but extra special thank you to. There goes my screen. Wonderful. It's gonna be a really fun show. I'm in a great mood. If you can't tell, it's just so the energy is just. Whew, it's just a great time to be here. Shout out to channel members, Cold Eastwood, American Fury. I updated this. Hargeet Chani, I already said that. Barry Donnellan, Game Seeker, Highlander Grimm, Fark You. That's this. Wait, this isn't the right one. Great. Hang on. Sorry. Excuse me. Let me grab the right one. Here we go. Let's try this again. All right. Shout out to channel members, Cold Eastwood, American Fury, Hargeet Chani, Barry Donnellan, Game Seeker, Highlander Grimm, Lotus Esprit, Fark You, Beano Red Hood, Crippling Debt, Nerds and Other Legends, Rick L, Brian Majestic, Biff Rinaldi, and Joseph Lemons, and Rayoid. Yes, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here. Oh, so much. It's gonna be, guys, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? I want to know how good you feel. Look how red my face is. It is so hot. And I apologize if you can hear the fan blowing in the background. So I'll look at my fan and just throw it across the room. You ever do that? You ever look at your fan and you're like, blow me? All right. Great. Oh, and there goes Assassin. Perfect. Yep. Love it. Love it. All right. But it's fine. We're going to hold it down. All right. Now that I got that all out of my system. Hey, DeMarco. What's up, buddy? How are you doing? What you been into? There he is.
Daddy!
Fucking love it.
I'm not gonna lie, I left just to see Red's reaction like, fuck.
Yep. It's fine. I'm used to it at this point. It's fine.
Oh my god. Frankie, DeMarco was yelling at Red like an angry mom. I'm drinking. Yeah, this is a fun show, alright.
Are you drinking? You know what? I'll
Yep.
drink too. Cheers. What are you drinking?
Don't worry about it. So, what are we doing?
We're on a podcast. And
I
this is
know.
episode... You know what? This is funny. This should be a special podcast for being episode 111, right? 111. Something had to happen. Either really cool, really funny, or really dumb and shit. And we went with dumb and shit.
It could have been Fallout themed.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, Fallout 4. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you. Gifted a channel membership to Leben98. Thank you so much for doing that. Oh, I just dropped my whatever. Is this the most unhinged beginning to a show that we've done. Probably.
No, I
this
think
good
it's just the
content?
most. I think it's just the most unstructured.
Yeah, it's fine. Listen,
And
that's the whole
incoherent.
point. That was sort of the whole point of the Renegade part of the podcast, was that we're different, right? And that's what crazy people say to other, Farcube, member chat for 7 months. You are most welcome, my friend. Yes, thank you so much.
What is your elevator pitch for the podcast?
It was, we are going to be loose and fun and not political about gaming. I think that's what the conversation was, right, Assassin? Years ago, it was.
That was
Okay,
the
not-
basis of this podcast.
It's
Yeah.
not that it's incoherent, illiterate babble by
Right.
three
It is.
dudes.
That's exactly what it is.
It wasn't about
because
spousal
is-
domestic abuse.
It's that too. Yeah, it's that every, and no offense to any other podcast, but so many podcasts have the same setup, the same format, and they
The
want
same
to talk
color.
about hardware a lot, and they want to talk about, and honestly, thankfully, I don't know too much about hardware. I learn as I go. But the pitch for this podcast was, let's just do a podcast and see what happens, and see what happens and what evolves organically. And here we are, me screaming and DeMarco screaming at me and me screaming at the audience. I love it. Welcome, everybody. If you're new here, we go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hit the like at the least and a sub at the most. And I'll do all this shit that I always say. Please do that. But anyway, but shout out to you guys. I really appreciate you. And Lotus Spree says Death Stranding 2 is ridiculously gorgeous on the Pro. I hope it comes to Series X soon. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But and shout out to everyone here. I'm sorry if I missed your name, but I did update the channel membership, so everyone should be caught up. I had to remove some people. Some people are no longer members, and vice versa, whatever. But anyway,
Brad,
Yep.
you should switch where my camera is on stream and your camera is, because I look this way to see the monitor, like to see my monitor and to see you, and and then you look the opposite way. So, but on stream we're looking in separate directions. But if you switch
Right.
where we are on stream, then we could be looking at each other.
I can't because the format has to stay the same on Discord. So unless you changed your name to be, because it goes alphabetical order, so you're DeMarco, and then it goes DR. Wait a second.
No,
That
because
doesn't
then
make
why
any
am I
sense.
on the bottom?
That's what she said. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why it is the way that it is. But anyway, either way, I don't think I can change. I don't know. Wait. Move to. No, I can't do that. Whatever. Well, let's talk about.
Let's talk about buttered sausage.
Let's talk about games and get into it. Where's Holly? Holly has work. Jacob Tupla, she cannot make it to the podcast on Tuesdays, so that's what's happening. But anyway, Assassin, what are you drinking and what have you been playing, man?
Don't worry about what I'm drinking.
You're drinking a twisted
and,
tea, aren't you?
No.
Okay, wait. If I guess it right, will you tell me?
You can guess all you like. You're not going to guess it. Can I answer the other part of
Smirnoff?
the question, though?
White Claw,
No.
whiskey,
No.
beer,
No. Well, close.
what does that mean? Is it a
Don't-
fizzy?
Can I answer the other part of the question, Red?
What the
Mark,
hell?
I don't think I didn't
You
notice that.
changed it. That's fantastic. I
Oh
don't even
my
care.
God.
I don't even care. That's so much
Woo!
better. That's so much better. Actually, thank you for doing that. See, this is why I
Okay.
have people smarter than me.
My
You gotta-
mind is going to have to take a second to adjust to this. I'm so used to it being the opposite.
You gotta change our names on the stream, though. But now
That
I
is
can now I
So I
look
was
at you.
kind of right though, right? It has something to do with
It was
alphabetical.
the order. Yep, I just put a Z. I put Z DeMarco dude, and now I come after you.
There we go. You come after me. All right.
That's
Speaking
what
of,
she said.
yep. So go ahead,
Mhm.
Assassin. What the fuck are you? What is happening
Playing?
right now? Yeah.
I've been hard at work on Persona 4 Golden. That trailer for Persona 4 Revival has gotten me hyped up for that game. So I figured, you know what? I already got the current base game because it launched on the next gen platforms like a few years ago. So you know what? I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it so I can get ready for the remake. That way I can actually be one of the few that actually knows the differences between the base game and the remake. And I'm not gonna lie, the cast is a lot funnier than P3, which I get is kind of the aim of it because it's more of a light-hearted tone than 3. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
That's great. You're different than me. If I hear that there's a remake coming out, I'm like, I'm waiting, and then I'll go back and look at the differences later on.
Well, once we talk about Sega's sales later on, you'll understand why.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's all you've been playing is Persona 4?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'm currently in June right now. So I've been putting in the work.
Okay. That's fantastic. DeMarco, what you been into, Mr. Godspeed White Cupman?
Godspeed. I've been doing a lot of Borderlands 3, actually. The excitement around Borderlands 4 had gotten to me, but I still don't want to pay $70 for Borderlands 4. So I was like, how can I play a Borderlands and have fun? And I've beaten Borderlands 3 maybe 3 times.
Oh my god.
Or Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2. 3 times. And I've never played through Borderlands 3 because I heard how bad it was. And it's such a mixed bag, honestly. There's parts of it where I'm playing through and I go, I don't know what everybody is talking about. It's pretty damn good. Like, the story is good. Like, things are happening. It's progressing the lore of Borderlands. It's pretty exciting. And then something happens. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, oh, God. Like, have you played has anyone played Borderlands 3?
Yeah, it's on my to beat list. Like, I need to beat it. What happened to me was I got like 15% into the story, and there was a literal bug that blocked progress. It would not let me fast travel, so I just had to delete my save. So I don't know how far you are, but I would be happy to go through it with you because, I've never.
I just got
played
to
a little bit of 1, but didn't get far enough to form an opinion. Go ahead.
I just got to the Jacobs planet. It's like a swamp planet, and you meet the founder Jacobs, and you do you go rescue Sir Hammerlock. He's captured and stuff. So, but in terms of they introduced this character Ava, and I remember watching Angry Joe's review of this character, and they were like, she's flipping terrible. She is horrible, and I get introduced to the character and I see okay, she's snobby, she's a bit entitled, but it's like, oh, she's a young character, she's a young girl that's zealous and spirited, and she's excited and passionate, and she's playing into a trope. And then there's just this one moment that happens, and I was literally just sitting there listening to this dialogue going just against the desk because it was so bad. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is what everybody means by she's a terrible character. And she's just annoying. And so I don't know.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, was the dialogue and the jokes. I think is what people didn't like about it. I think people like the combat and the guns and all that, but I like the characters.
The gameplay is great. It's improved. Yeah, it's improved. I like Zane. I like the Vault Hunters that are there. Yes. I started one as the Siren. I liked her. I did mostly Zane. I like Zane a lot. I think he's awesome. I haven't done... I did a tiny bit of the girl with the mech, and she was cool. I didn't play enough of her, but she seemed interesting. And then I didn't do the other one. But yeah, the characters are good. There's some great story moments as well. But there's something that comes along and you're just reminded about, god damn it. So it's fine. It's fine. But I've been having fun with it. The gameplay is fun. The gameplay loop is fun. It's Borderlands, and I like Borderlands, and I'm happy to be going through it, especially because I want to wait for Borderlands 4 price to go down. So I'll get my fix. I'll feel satisfied with Borderlands. Borderlands 4 will come out, and I'll be like, nah, I already quite a bit of it. I'm good. And then I'll wait for the price to come down with the expansion that comes with the 2 Vault Hunters in it. That's probably going to be like their Game of the Year edition or whatever it is, whatever they want to call it. or everything's just on sale, and that's when I'll pick that game up, because I don't like Randy Pitchford, and I don't care that he or 2K lowered the price.
Yeah, a man of I can't think of the word. Yeah, Arcane says, why aren't we playing together? Yeah, well, you know, people got their own times. If you guys want to play together, that'd be cool. Drake Williams.
I answered him.
Oh, Drake Williams says, shout out to the Renegade crew. Thank you so much for being here, Drake. I appreciate you a lot. Yeah, speaking of scratching itches, I have been I'm Resident Evil 9, like that reveal. It's like there was like a bit of lag for excitement for me, and then it hit me. I was like, oh my god, I'm a massive Resident Evil fan. Like, I don't know why I wasn't shitting all over the walls when that got revealed. So like you, DeMarco, like the hype started to get to me, and I was like, I need to scratch this itch. So I've been playing all of the Resident Evil games in chronological order. So yes, literally started with Resident Evil 0, which I never beat. Then which is the remaster version. Beat that. Then I went and played and beat the Resident Evil 1 remake, and beat that. And then I just yesterday started Resident Evil 2 remake, which I've already beaten. But I started in hardcore mode, which you'll love this, DeMarco. Which it introduces the. Have you ever played the old Resident Evils? Okay, so in the old ones, you guys in chat might know.
I did a tiny bit of 4.
Yeah, even.
What's the one where he punches the rock?
That's 5.
What's the one where?
That's 5.
I did a tiny bit of that one. I did a tiny bit of that.
That's when it started to go action and just went off the rails. They're still good, but they're not great for what they were known for. But 2, there's a hardcore mode that allows you to. It's much more difficult, obviously, but it reintroduces the ink ribbons. So you have to have these items called ink ribbons in order to save your game. So it makes the game so much more tense and more scary, because you're like, if you die, you have to go back to. It's so much better, and I'm loving it right now because I'm in the beginning of the game. But if I start to hate it because you can't change difficulty mid-game, I haven't fought a single boss yet, but I'm telling you right now, because you get grabbed by one zombie and you're dead already. So it's been
get fun. Ready for that Mr. X boss fight at the very end.
That's exactly what I can think about in the lab. I'm like, I can't imagine how I'm gonna do this on that. Anyway, but yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and playing some other stuff. Obviously, you know, things like Stalker and Mafia 3, sort of just hacking away at that, and getting excited for hopefully Starfield reveal. So I load up Starfield like every other day to check mods.
What do you mean hopefully?
You think it's 100% going to be there? You want to talk about this? Let's talk about this. Okay, so Gamescom. If no one saw this is not even one of the topics, but I do want to talk about it because it's going to be a weird show anyway. But let's do this. You asked for this. Bethesda. For anyone who missed it, Bethesda tweeted out that they will be at Gamescom in August, right? So everyone was concerned about the lack of any Bethesda besides 76 at the Game Award, or the Game Awards, the Xbox Showcase, but they will indeed be there at Gamescom. So first thing everyone thought is more Starfield, and in the replies you can see everyone is like more Starfield or something Elder Scrolls 6, and then a couple people were like Fallout 3 remastered, and it's like calm down. But so you think Starfield?
I think it's a guarantee. Starfield, listen, they clearly didn't show it off at Summer Games Fest. It's possible that I've heard some people speculating that the game went through some big, or the expansion went through some big revamps after Shattered Space dropped, and they kind of really took it back and said, all right, let's try to make this bigger. I think there's a strong possibility personally that they are cognizant of the fact this is going to be the last Starfield DLC. So they might be it might take a bit longer than anticipated because they are putting a little bit more into it, right? If they initially had plans, they wanted this to be the 10-year game. It's not going to be the 10-year game. I'm sorry. To any Starfield fans out there, it's not going to be the 10-year game. So what I think they're trying to do potentially is they're kind of cramming in a bit more ideas that they said, all right, we did want to do these expansions. We're not going to get all this out. We did introduce the buggy, so they're probably thinking about how can we make the buggy integrated into the experience somehow, right? Which a lot of people said it seems like that should have been there at launch, and it probably got taken out because of time and budget and things of that nature. So I have 100%. I'm gonna put 100% down that Starfield DLC is gonna be at Gamescom, and that's just it, because that's gonna be it. It's gonna be the last one.
What would
The
you
last
wanna
expansion
see?
for Starfield.
Like,
What would I
knowing-
want to see?
Like, knowing that they're not gonna fundamentally change the core of the whole space sim.
I think
kinda
that they
crap.
need
Like,
to
what would you want to see?
They need to just take a planet, and it could, because they have plenty to choose from. Take a planet and do what they did with House Faroon, but just make it's not going to be a
Like,
surprise.
bigger?
Do a Dragonborn DLC sized expansion. Do a Shivering Isles sized expansion.
Shivering
but
Isles,
have
yeah.
that all on one planet, and then be very clear that this is the zone where all the stuff is, and then they have all the procedural stuff. But don't rely on the player. Like, let everything be explorable on foot. Give players the opportunity to do everything they want on foot. Maybe have a couple optional quests that take you out to those farther places. That's fine. But as far as if you want to go through the main story, choice and consequence needs to be big priority. Everything can be done on foot on a single planet, number 2. And number 3 is having and this kind of comes with the territory of this larger expansion, but it needs to be new enemy types that mechanically operate differently than what's in the game currently.
Okay.
So they can't just behave like you can't just throw in, because as far as I know, I didn't play Shattered Space, but as far as I know, like the Varun Zealots and stuff that you could fight, they're basically the same as the Spacers, and they're basically the same as the Bandits and these other, like, all the other groups. They don't do anything, so they need something that fundamentally works differently on a gameplay level. But that's what I would personally want to see. However, that being said, I know for the people that are still playing Starfield, I think there is something to be said if Bethesda were to decide, no, we're actually going to focus on what that audience likes about the game, and we're going to dive into that more, which the audience that's still playing Starfield doesn't necessarily mind traveling between planets and the space stuff and the procedural generation and all of those things. So they have 2 options. Me, as someone who prefers the Elder Scrolls boots on the ground experience, I would prefer the former.
Yeah, Fuzzy Tomato says, I hope they don't keep it to one planet. The shipbuilding and space combat are the best part of the game. Why would you ignore it? And to that point, I guess, am I unrealistic? I don't know how unrealistic it is. My unrealistic expectation, or my hope, would be BT Maverick Aliens. Well, I don't think we're going to see that, but would be them adding more random, like, they're like, we've added 100 more procedurally generated locations or whatever, just to keep, because at that point, imagine they add like 20 every 3 months or whatever. You would have so much to explore. Like, yeah, you would, because you run into stuff like that in Fallout and Skyrim, but a lot of it does feel like different every time. But there are things that you run into, like the priest, the dragon priest, like in Skyrim. It's like, you know what you're going to get to at the end of the cave. You're going to get to the tomb. You're going to have the wall. The dragon shouts.
The word of power there.
But
yeah.
I don't know. It's just that Starfield is hard. Like, it feels like a game that, like, whenever you add, like, I'm excited for the story stuff with Starborn DLC. I don't know what it's gonna mean, like what it actually means. Like, do you have to beat the game to like mess with that DLC? What I'm more excited about is like the actual updates of the core of the game, like even over that DLC. You know, so, but I don't know, like, I don't know what else they could do for me personally that I'd be like, now it's, because it's just me, I don't know, like, I love No Man's Sky, like, I bought a PS4 just for No Man's Sky, so the space sim genre is so There's not many games like it, and Starfield does that, and we're never going to see Star Citizen because that's a scam. But anyway, Assassin, do you care about... is there anything that you would want, like, genuinely, is there anything that would interest you for Starfield?
About Starfield?
Yeah, like, what could they update anything? Like, what if Gamescom, Todd Howard walks out, and he's buff, he doesn't even have a jacket on, he's just shirtless, and he's like, listen here. And he says exactly what you want to hear, and it's...
What I want from Starfield is something that I will never get, so there's no point in asking. However, I do disagree with you and DeMarco that Starfield will be there at Gamescom. I don't think it will be.
Okay,
I think they're going to probably focus on Indiana Jones' DLC coming in September, and I think they're going to probably showcase Doom the Dark Ages DLC. Seems like a perfect venue to do it. I think Doom and Indy will actually take Starfield's place.
Okay.
At Gamescom.
I don't know. You can't really. I would say with Indiana Jones they could show off a new trailer for the DLC, but it's a story-driven DLC, right? So it's not as though they can do a bigger deep dive into it.
They can. I just think I never said a deep dive. I just said that they'll probably just show off a little bit more in a trailer, maybe a launch trailer. Who knows? But I think.
So I guess my question,
there, not Starfield.
my question to you then is why would that, like, quote unquote replace Starfield making an appearance? Because that's the verbiage you use, right? You said I think it's going to take the place of, unless I misheard.
I think no, you didn't mishear, but I think I guess the better phrasing would be, I think Doom and Indy would make more sense than Starfield.
Oh, okay.
Because honestly, Starfield's, like, yes, it's coming to PlayStation. It's got a lot of problems, which, again, I will not go over. Brett and I will just never agree on it, but to me, with Indy's DLC coming out, I think 2 weeks after Gamescom, and Gamescom being a few months after Doom the Dark Ages, which, if you pre-ordered it, you get access to the DLC, like, immediately. That's one of the benefits of it. I would genuinely be shocked if id Software's not there with a tease or just a full reveal of what the DLC will be. Because having played Doom 2016 last year and then playing Doom the Dark Ages to the end, I'm like, they said it's a prequel, so how in the world does he get, entombed? Like, where's the connection there?
I mean,
but
I guess
hopefully we actually get to see it.
I mean, I haven't beat it. I've barely played Doom because I got distracted by nostalgia. So I can't really speak on it, but maybe they could bridge the gap between 2016, which they probably do in the end of Dark Ages. I don't know, but I really can't speak on it. RSJ fan, to DeMarco, just so you know, Starfield is the only Bethesda IP I actually enjoy. Yeah, that's fine. That is great. That's great. Aliens, BT Maverick says, how else can you change the enemy type unless it's aliens? I mean, I think the Starborn is that, because they use powers and stuff like that. So I guess unless you haven't beat the main story, you don't know about that enemy. But also, it doesn't... The Starfield setup is weird, because, like, you're not encountering them that often. So I understand that. It is just a space shooter, with, like, lasers or ballistics.
When I think about, like, different enemy types, right? Again, I've been playing Borderlands 3, and one thing that really stands out about, and this is all the Borderlands games, not just 3, but you get across an enemy that has they have a hard, it's like a alien creature, like a dinosaur thing on one of the planets, and it has a hard head, so you do less damage when you're shooting it right in the head, and I think some of your bullets even, like, bounce off of it if you're just using, like, something that's not like an incendiary or something. You have the guys with the shields that kind of charge, and eventually they might, like, I saw one just straight up hurl a shield at me, and one, like, charged up to me with his and tried to, like, slam it in the ground, right? You have just different enemies used different tactics. It wasn't like, oh, this one has this, like, this one can, which, to go back to Skyrim as the example, right, with the Dragon Priest, it's like, oh, well, this one acts like a bandit, but it floats, and sometimes it might Fusro die you.
Okay.
It might use a dragon shot, right? It's something that mechanically, when you see that enemy, you're like, okay, I need to approach this a little bit differently. I need to try to flank this one. I need to make sure that I'm prepared and have some kind of heavier ordnance because explosives work better about it, right? Things that mechanically are not the same, so that you approach situations differently. And then it changes the whole flow of a battle, right? Because again, you know, to use Borderlands as the example, there's these snipers, there's these long shot guys that are standing in the back, and you can see the red beam. That means they're aiming at you, and they do a ton of damage if they hit you. So it's like, okay, I gotta get across the field, like I gotta move and use cover and stuff to get to them, to take them out first, while I have these other guys with the shields that are rushing me. So now the whole flow of the battle is different, and that's something Bethesda has never done, right? To be fair, that's something Bethesda has never gotten right, in my opinion, where they have like an artillery, they have a front row, they have a, you know, a mid, you know, so the infantry. That is what I would want when I think about sort of improvements I want to see with Bethesda games in Elder Scrolls 6. I often say I want the AI to be better, and that's what I mean by that. But that's what I would like to see in Starfield as well. Like a DLC, I would want them to try to implement some of that behavioral AI.
Yeah.
To make the fights more engaging.
They had a mod in Fallout 4 that was I mean, it was bad in the sense like it wasn't, you know, it was made by one dude, a modder obviously, but like the cover system was functional enough to where you could take cover and shoot around a corner. But the issue came, it was the AI. It was the AI rushing you, and it's like, what the hell's the point of me taking cover if like everyone's like running at me all the time? Like it just didn't feel like it made sense. And I'm like, oh, that's like when these games are made, they're made with like a specific idea in mind, so they remove certain features that other games have because it just doesn't work. Like I've been playing The Precinct again recently, which shout out to those guys. That game is so fun. But it is a top-down sort of isometric, not turn-based, but fully manual control game. And still, I'm one of those people, I'm like, I love the game, but I would love for there to be like a more over-the-shoulder, third-person, down-to-the-ground camera angle. And I'm like, but that's not what the game was meant to be. It functions like it could be like an opposite GTA, but the camera angle is top-down. But a lot of people on Reddit were like, it's not how the game is built. It's not what it's meant for. So there are just certain games where things just don't work. Anyway, Arcane says, speaking of AI, Mindseye, thank you. I'll be here all week. Mindseye, I see what you did there. Until they bury me in the shallow and unmarked grave. No, don't say that. Anyway, let's see. I don't know. Palpatine says, I don't know how they did it, but somehow Bethesda left out the fun in Starfield. Yeah, I don't know. I just had to disagree. Like, you just make your own fun. Like, when people ask me, what are you doing in Starfield? It's so boring to me. I am making weapons. I'm traveling to planets. I'm maintaining my ship. I'm refueling. I'm buying. I'm selling. I'm looting. I'm doing side quests. Like, I'm just living in the world the same way that I've done every single Bethesda game. Like, there is so much to interact with. I constantly have things to do. I'm doing bounty hunting missions, and in between doing bounty hunting missions, which is like my main thing, there are things that I bump into, and it is that procedural generation stuff. So if you're not so hyper focused on like just let me explore this planet, it doesn't feel so I guess repetitive in that way. Because if you do the same thing over and over, yes, it will feel repetitive. And as a bounty hunter, I do run into those like repetitive, those repeating procedural locations. Like, here's the same mine again, but it's like it's all I have. Like, I can't imagine, like, and I've said this before, like with Star Citizen, it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the same exact thing, and people are gonna yell and scream about it. Death Stranding. Okay, we can move to Death Stranding. Death Stranding. You run around, and there's tons of nothing in between point A to point B. You're literally doing nothing. Everyone's like, game of the year. I'm like, okay, whatever, man. That's fine. And I think Death Stranding is very unique. It is a very chill game, you know, and it's the same thing for me with Starfield. It's, I feel like, you know, anyway, I could go on about Starfield, but let's move on. Death Stranding getting really great reviews. Assassin, you're a PlayStation man. Did you beat Death Stranding 1?
No, and like I've said before, I may be a PlayStation fan, but that doesn't mean I like all of PlayStation's games. I tried it at launch. It just could not grab me. And it wasn't until later on I heard that, you know, you have to let it... It's kind of a slow burn type of game, which I didn't know. Like, I think they said it got, quote-unquote, it got good around chapter 3 or 4 or whatever. I was like, okay, like, how far into the game is that? Because I think I got to, like, chapter 2, or maybe 2.5. I don't know, I couldn't get into it, but maybe I'll give it another fair shot. Who knows? But hearing Death Stranding 2 get so much positivity around it, I honestly thought it would just be DS1 but more, but apparently it's like a completely different game. It's much more like Metal Gear than it is Death Stranding, if that makes sense. I have no idea how that works, but this is Kojima we're talking about. And he's a master of making weird things. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll give Death Stranding another shot. Who knows? I think I actually got the complete edition a while back while it was on sale. Maybe I'll give it a shot this summer, and if I like it, maybe I'll give DS2 a shot later this year. You know, when we have a break, which, let's be real, we're not going to have a break.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually why I stopped buying games on sale, because I'm like, I'm buying it on sale. Games are always going to be going on sale. Just wait until you're ready to actually play it. Like, save your money. Yeah, well said. I am very excited to go back into it. I bought it on PS4 back in the day, and then I also played it when it came to PC before I got this PC, so it wasn't running great. I was on the Acer Nitro 1650 laptop, and really just didn't have the time for it because there was, again, so much coming out. But I do intend to play it, and it'll hold me over until it comes to PC or comes to Xbox first, which I'm sure it'll be PC first. But anyway, DeMarco, you have a PS5. Did you ever jump into Death Stranding? You've been looking at these reviews.
It interested me.
Yeah, it's not your jam.
No. I can appreciate, like, I've never been a massive Kojima fan, to be honest. Like, not in the sense that I don't like his games or that I have anything against them. I just never saw Kojima productions and went, oh my god, it's Kojima, I need to play it! Right? Which I know a lot of people swear by him. And that's, you know, he does a lot of things I respect. Like, I really love to see, I think I retweeted this when he shared out, he's like, yeah, I want to make things that not everybody likes. And I was like, that's not, I actually have a lot of respect for that, because, and he said, he, you know, I think there was something else he said where he's like, I want to try to do that because it inspires, you know, a more niche group of artists to try to do something else creative. And so it really just creates this chain. So when somebody turns around and the next generation of creators says, I really love Death Stranding and I'm going to put my own spin on it and how I interpreted that art and then push out my own game, and you could see some of those influences, but it's not the same game, obviously, and it's going to appeal to a different market that maybe would appeal to someone like me, right? So then what happens is because art is subjective and it appeals to a certain group of people, they can interpret that and then pass it on with their own vision. And I think a lot of what Kojima does has a lot of merit to it for that reason. But his games in and of themselves have never been like must-buys or must-plays, and Death Stranding was not necessarily any different.
Yeah, it's very acquired taste, and Kojima does have that thing that apparently Final Fantasy 16 has, where you have like these long, like 20-minute long cutscenes, like no exaggeration, like 5 to 15, 20-minute long cutscenes. And for me personally, maybe it's because I said this on Twitter the other day. I was replying to someone and I said, maybe it's because I grew up watching or playing Metal Gear Solid games in general, that I'm just used to, and I've done this thing over the past few years where when a cutscene starts, I put my controller down. I set it in my lap, or I set it on the coffee table, because you're much more engaged. Like, because there is no anticipation for you to interact and change something in the world when the controller's in your hand, if that makes sense. So while a cutscene is playing, the controller's in your hand, and you're like, okay, I need to press a button to do something. If you set the controller down, it's just like watching a show, and you're like, now I'm engaged, my hands are free, and I'm watching this cutscene. And I've sort of just gotten used to doing that. But again, it is an acquired taste, because his kind of stuff is very self-indulgent, and it's just weird. But it's interesting. It's just that it's just not for everybody. Some of it makes people, even you can ask anyone, the majority of people that love Death Stranding and Metal Gear Solid, what happened in the story? They're like, I have no fucking idea, but I like it. You know, the gameplay is good. But anyway, yeah, shout out to the people who love Death Stranding. I can't wait to. Everyone's gone off about Starfield. I can't wait to get into Death Stranding 1, like, for real, because I've started it twice now, and I got it on Xbox. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited for it. But anyway, all right. So Mindseye. We knew this was coming. Mindseye lays off, what is it, over 100 employees? Or they are down to 100 employees. I can't remember.
They laid off. They laid off. I think it was they laid off. They're down to about 100 employees.
They're down to 100. Okay, I couldn't remember if they laid off 100 or yeah. It's like we talked about this so much before the game came out, but I don't. It's like, it's one thing. Like, okay, look at a game like The Day Before. And chat, if you don't remember The Day Before, it was that zombie game that looked way too good to be true. It looked like The Division with zombies in it.
Oh no, I apologize. Yeah. They have not confirmed, but it was suggested that around 100 workers would be impacted out of a total of 500.
Okay, got you. So my first assumption was right. Yeah, so they're at least
Correct.
100 people are about to be okay, right? Which is terrible. And every time that we talk, I hate talking about layoffs, because there it is. It's like every week, Xbox is going to have layoffs. It's just, I hate it, and it's going to be the same conversation over and over again. But the reason that I wanted to talk about Mindseye specifically is because whenever you look at games, there's usually some sort of like catch. There's not a catch, but there's some sort of like buy-in feature. Like, for example, The Day Before, again, it looked like The Division meets, you know, zombies. It was just like this open world zombie game, and it just looked way too good to be true. And everyone's like, this is like my dream game. It has it has this feature, has that feature, blah blah blah. Whenever you look at like a Grand Theft Auto game, you don't look at a Grand Theft Auto game and go, I'm buying Grand Theft Auto simply because it's Grand Theft Auto. It has the brand, what's the name, or what's the brand recognition, because it has so many features within the game. I don't buy a Grand Theft Auto game just because the shooting is good or the story is good. It's that GTA games have evolved in a way since 4 and 5 and Red Dead 2 and Red Dead, where there's so much within the game. It's another world to like lose yourself in. So the fact that there's like the buy-in, right? Bethesda games. I'm not playing Skyrim and Elder Scrolls because the combat is amazing. I'm not playing it because the role-playing is amazing. I'm not playing it because the character creation is made. It's the combination of all these things coming together that makes me say, well, that's why I'm interested. So I say all that to say, with Mindseye, I never understood what the buy-in was. I joked about what was the buy-in to begin with. It's a third-person shooter. And that's it. Like, I don't know what the hell else there was with the game. And everyone's like, but it's from the director. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. I don't get the vision. I'm just like, and it's like, well, it's coming from the dude who apparently is, there's reports that it was a toxic work environment, that the director of the game, who was an ex-GTA dev or director or producer, whatever the hell, that he was surrounded by tons of yes men, and anyone who wasn't the yes men were sidelined and eventually let go. Which is terrible. And at the same time, again, what was the buy-in? I don't it's one thing to, like, because I could sit here and say this game was like a scam, but they never even advertised anything about this game other than it is a third-person shooter set in a desert and it's sci-fi or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. So to call it a scam, it was just so, it felt so strange. Like right off the bat, I'm like, why is this game, like, honestly, whenever we first saw the game, I thought this game should have been like at a smaller showcase, you know, like it was like blown up like it was gonna be this huge big thing, but then all they showed again was third-person shooting. So it's just strange to me. So I just don't know what the end game was. I don't know if this was like a money grab or like, I just don't understand. But I don't know. Assassin, do you have thoughts on the downfall of Mindseye and studio head toxicity and all that and layoffs and whatever?
I mean, honestly, it's sad to see. When I first saw the game, I was like, oh, we might actually have like an actual like GTA like competitor, because we don't have that type of game anymore. Saints Row is completely dead. Sleeping Dogs, people are I forgot Shang-Chi's actor. He's trying to get that IP revived with a movie. Hopefully, Square Enix can actually, you know, see that people want a Sleeping Dogs sequel. But in terms of like GTA third-person cover shooters, you don't really get a lot of those. And I was hoping that Mindseye would be, you know, the one to do it in the PS5 Series X generation. But man, this game is just a complete disaster. Like, this is... Mindseye is definitely the contender for worst game of the year. Like, it was a red flag from the beginning. Like, influencers and content creators who were actually covering the game, they weren't allowed to play most of the game. It was shown off, and even then they were like, I'm noticing some like frame drops here, I'm noticing some stuttering, the gameplay feels bland, like there's lip syncing issues, everything about it, and they didn't give the media review copies at all. Major red flag. So they to say that they had no idea of what they were giving, they knew, they just didn't want to admit it. I mean, the CFO left a week before the game launched. How many more red flags do you need to put up before people realize, hey, this game doesn't look like it's gonna do good, or it doesn't... It looks fine, but I don't know, man. It's not inspiring any confidence at all. So, look, I'm not saying that every developer at Build a Rocket Boy is completely responsible. They probably, who knows, they may have had crunch, they may have been given, you know, tight deadlines, maybe they were putting stuff in the game, and then at the last minute they were like, no, we can't have that in the game, you gotta take it out. Like, well, that ruins, now we gotta rework this, now we gotta change that. So it's just a complete dumpster fire. I feel bad for the devs who genuinely wanted this game to succeed, but
yeah, of course.
This is what happens when you got people at the top who care more about money and recognition and, you know, putting your name on something. Like, oh, I'm the guy that worked on GTA 5. Well, did you, like, do anything significant? Because if you worked on GTA 5, man, because I don't know, I'm not seeing anything GTA 5 like here. Like, even GTA 5 didn't have any bugs or glitches like that. And I know people like Holly enjoy the game, but again,
GTA had a lot of bugs and glitches. What are you talking about?
Nothing.
When Grand Theft Auto 5 released?
Are you talking about the... Oh, okay. Then maybe I was talking about like the next gen, because I first played it on Xbox One and I didn't have any glitches at all. Maybe that's why I'm saying that.
Okay. Yeah, when that game released, there were plenty of don't you worry. Don't worry about it. There were plenty of problems when that game launched.
Yeah, Arcane says it very well. Arcane says it never looked promising. It always looked like an incredibly generic third-person shooter when their only marketing ploy was that it's former Rockstar devs. And I don't even know if they were all former Rockstar devs. It was just a handful plus
No, obviously not. Yeah.
Right, plus the executive, the CEO or wherever the hell he is. they themselves, they open themselves to this criticism. Palpatine says toxic positivity has to be the culprit. It's the only thing that explains how it got released, even after their disastrous preview event. Yeah, and that was the other thing. It was just nothing but like just blaming it on everyone else. Like instead of saying, "Hey guys, we heard your criticism," you know. Like I've said, like in any creative space, like DeMarco, you know how this is. Like let's say you're editing a video for 10 straight hours, right? And you're like, all right, it looks good. All it takes is a second pair of eyes to look at something that you have been just knees deep in, neck deep in, nose deep in, that you have only had like tunnel vision with your vision of this thing, right? And then someone goes, "Hey, there's a little thing right here," and you're like, "Oh my god, I didn't even notice that," because I've been in it for so long. It's the same thing with writing music. It's anything creative. Like when people just have their heads down and they're just balls deep in it. That's just what happened, and everyone was just
we've talked on the show multiple times about how you need those two people, right? Like we've talked about in relation to Neil Druckmann, how you need the creative person, right? And then you need the business person, and they need to have a symbiotic relationship where they're sort of saying, no, we can't really do that, or we shouldn't do that. Right, maybe not necessarily business person is right, but you need a symbiotic relationship between someone who can sort of pull you back if you're a creative and you're an ideas, but you still need that ideas person to do that ambition and to push that drive and to see what can be done. Mindseye seems like an example where they were trying to ride the coattails of their former success, and I will say, I think they were doomed when they named their studio Build a Rocket Boy. I hate that name. I think that was the first. Yeah. I think that was the first red flag when you called yourselves Build a Rocket Boy.
Yeah.
No, not actually. But I mean, I actually don't like that name. But
yeah.
But yeah, we've talked about that, and I think we saw the same thing sort of too with like you want to talk about other examples where something got in the way, right? Where like George Lucas, with a lot of the cringy scenes in the prequel trilogy for Star Wars was like George Lucas writing, because nobody stood up and was like, I don't think human beings act that way. Like,
and when they did, he fired them. He fired them. This is like there's actually a video that you can go look on YouTube of George Lucas telling a man to get out of here, like getting him out of the room, unless like that comes out to be it was just a joke or whatever. But he was like telling this guy, he fired him right there on the spot because people were like, I don't know if that's gonna work, and he's like, get out. But yeah, it happens, and it's just shit. It's I hate it so much. Like
the biggest, I think the saddest part about Mindseye,
Arcane. You see what Arcane says?
Poetry.
Yeah. Arcane says, no,
I
you're
think
wrong,
the saddest
DeMarco.
thing
it's not
about
bad writing in the prequels. It's just poetry and it rhymes. Yeah, there you go.
I hate sand.
It's
coarse
everywhere.
and it's rough, and it gets everywhere.
My ears. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Not like you, chat. You're smooth. Soft. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think the saddest part about Mindseye is it's a game that I think maybe had potential at one point. Like, the idea, I think the idea is there, right? I think the core of Mindseye, PT, Maverick, and RSJ is going to get mad at me. I think the bones of Starfield are non-existent. I don't think they're there. I think the bones of Mindseye are there. I do. I think that there's a possibility that could have been, if it had a little bit, I don't know where the issue was. I don't want to say like it was unclear direction, or I don't want to say it was just a lack of development time, because I don't know. But I think that there was something there. Because you can look at, for example, the performances in the game are actually really damn good. I was watching Holly play. She was streaming it. And there were some really, really good performances. And the story it hit a couple cliches, and I was making jokes about it in her chat. I was like, oh man, I can't wait for a generic action hero character man to have his one downfall, so that way he could get inspired by his team that he really can do the job and come back stronger than, like, it just had, some of the writing just had, and maybe it doesn't play out like that. Maybe I would have been surprised, but it did give that feel. but that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. Like, for example, what is it? The Marvel movie Thunderbolts came out. And, like, those movies, it's kind of cliche where it's like the band of misfits getting together and rising to the occasion, even though they're not the right people for the job, but they're just the right people for the job. Like, I have a soft spot for that kind of stuff.
I do, too.
So you could do that a lot of times, and I'll be okay with, like, I'll enjoy it, right? It's a trope, but I'll enjoy it. So sometimes tropes are good. That's why they're tropes. But I think Mindseye had something going for it, and maybe it needed a better team. Maybe because this is going to sort of be a wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people. We probably need a few more games like this. You could look at, what is it? The survival game by the former BioWare, Nightingale, right? Was former BioWare devs. They went off, they made Nightingale. Nightingale didn't do that well. The former Call of Duty developer that made Immortals of Avium came out. Didn't really do that well. This is a former Rockstar dev, comes out. Doesn't really do that well. Right, so we've talked. That's okay, RSJ. I forgive you.
Shout out to RSJ. She's great.
I will say, so just to wrap this very long point up, it's not. We've talked about it, I think it was last week. It's not about the talent that's there. It's about how well that talent gets along, and how well that team works together, and that's the difference between something like an Expedition 33. Versus a Mindseye, versus an Immortals of Avium.
Right. Shout out to Dion78, Web Dave. Thank you guys both for showing up, hanging out. Again, you missed the beginning of the show where I was just losing my mind. DeMarco was losing his mind at me. It was great. I love it. It's one of the most unhinged beginnings of the show we've ever had. So if you missed it, rewind. Just rewind to the beginning.
It doesn't. I don't know when you put the audio on, but I think it doesn't capture all of it. Where I was basically saying like.
No, you did. I turned it on when you started screaming at me. I was like turning this way. So people got like a little bit of it. No, he yells at me all the time, and I just wanted there to be video evidence when the court date comes around. No.
You know what I feel the worst about? Like, unironically, I lose sleep over it. When we were playing Minecraft and you were building like walls or something, or like you were digging a staircase in the house like your own mine. I was like, what? Why are you building a mine? I have one over here.
I know, and I'm just like, I'm just trying to help. And you're like, but I've already done it. I'm already
Minecraft. I was becoming like such a control freak, and I was like, what the fuck just happened to me?
But that's good. You're self-aware. That's all. There's room for improvement. Nah, it didn't bother me that much. I only cried a little bit, but it was fine. You're a good man. You're a good man, Marco.
I don't know. I was like sometimes it just I gotta. It's like I was in an escape room. I don't think I'm a competitive person, but I was in an escape room, and then someone was coming over to help me. I was like, no, just go over there. I'm sorry.
Don't distract me.
I got this one. Just go there.
Yeah. I almost had it.
And they were like, all right, jeez.
I love that.
And then after the fact, after we finished the escape, they called me out on it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, basically. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I get, in certain situations, I get very competitive, and it's not usually how I am.
I totally get it.
I still lose sleep over
it's the
that
same
in
way
Minecraft,
with me getting frustrated with technology, and then after I'm chill like I am now, I'm like, what a baby. I was being such a fucking little baby, yelling and crying about the thing I have no control over, and I'm like, oh my god. It's just, we're all people, we're all humans, we have emotions, and some emotions are harder to control depending on who you are, right, chat? Let me know if you're an emotional person. I genuinely want to know. I would love to have these kind of conversations on the show, just talking about real people, because we're all real. Anyway, so that's Mindseye, and again, shout out to I thought somebody knew. You, BT Maverick, you should do $1 subscription like WebDave does. $1 subscriptions. What does that mean? Oh, $1 memberships.
Like a 99-cent membership tier.
Right. I mean, I can make a new tier if that's more enticing to you guys. It's really. the reason that I started with 5, it's just base support for the channel. I don't have a lot to offer, so I was like $5, $3. $3 might have been more fair for the price point. For what I don't offer anymore. I'm not doing video content anymore, like as of right now, and I'm tired of promising things that I just can't deliver on. So maybe $5. Maybe that tier will change with new benefits, and then I'll make a $1 tier that is just support. So, but I appreciate the feedback, you guys. Really do appreciate the feedback. Those things will evolve as I evolve. This isn't my final form. Maybe I'll have hair one day. You guys hear about this? There's like new braking technology that's making bald people not bald anymore. It's great.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway.
I feel like I've seen that 7 times already, though.
I know.
They're like, look at this new thing. It's like, specifically with like hair. They're like, look at all the hair you can grow, and it's like, is it gonna get released? And they're like, no.
Look at this graph. Anyway.
Every time I do it makes me cry.
Yeah, it does. Hair is overrated, King Styles. Oh, shout out to you, King Styles. Good to see you here, man. This is hair is overrated. Lotus says red is serving realness. Yeah, I guess that is a thing. We're not putting on a show here. We're just being real. We're just anyway, we can give out 20 memberships for $20. Right. Yeah, true. Very, very true. Yeah, appreciate that. Hey, Assassin, you want to talk about what happened? So Sega accidentally leaked their income from their projects over the past 5 years. And wouldn't you know it, there's a reason why all these Persona games are getting remasters. You want to tell them why, Assassin?
You mean spin-offs?
Well, there's only been one spin-off that I know of in P5, Persona 5.
Persona 5 Strikers, Persona 5 Dancing in the Moonlight, Persona 5 Tactica.
Tactica, that's what
Persona 5 The Phantom X.
I don't know.
There's like
I have
5
no idea
spin-offs.
Okay, I didn't know. Well, I knew about Strikers, but I forgot about whatever the hell other mobile games you just named. They sound like games.
There's a ton of spin-offs. So yeah, Sega had accidentally released some updated numbers for some of their games. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was on the list. I think that was at like 1.6 million. Sonic Frontiers was at 4.5. And then we get to Persona 5 Royal, which came out, I think, 2019. That game has sold 7.5 million copies. I don't think that's included in the base game, if I recall, because it's only a 5-year. It only goes to 2020. But that is a lot of money coming in just for Persona. Persona 3 Reload, I think, recently launched last year and is at like 2 million. Metaphor is at another 2 million. So Sega's they're actually seeing the fruits of their multi-plat strategy, releasing everywhere at the same time, day one. Like, it's good to see Sega is continuing to grow, and they want to bring back their older IPs, expand their portfolio. They have Sonic Racing Cross Worlds coming later this year. It seems like a cheaper competitor to Mario Kart, and it looks like it's a bit more. It seems more like a Sega game than a Sonic game, if that makes sense. Like, they have Ichiban from Yakuza, and they have Joker from Persona as characters in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Persona 5 Golden, or in this case, Persona 4 Revival. It's slated to come out between April 1st, 2026 to March 30th, 2027, so it's in Sega's fiscal year of 2027, which I know sounds like a long ways away, and in some ways it is. So yeah, Rhett, it seems like it's going to be a little bit more than a year before we see the remake for P4. So yeah, getting on Golden right now seems like the perfect time to do it. So yeah, I'm glad that Sega is in a much better place than where they were years ago. Like Capcom and what Square Enix is trying to get out of now. They were kind of in a rut a few years ago in terms of financial stability.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see that they're growing. It's good to see that they're expanding, and it's good to see that it's paying off. Hopefully, games like Shinobi later this year will help that a little bit.
Games
anyway, you were saying?
And people, well, I was going to say people, and we won't stay on this topic for too long, guys, so if you're just now tuning in, we're about to jump to a huge RPG that I'm very excited about. So but real quick, if you are new here, consider subscribing. We go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check out everyone in the link in the description below. DeMarco has a YouTube channel and a podcast and all that, so be sure to support everyone. But thank you guys. At least hit the like button. That'd be really great. But what I will say about the Persona stuff, people can say, I mean, it is niche, but dude, 5 million I don't know what the total number was just for Persona 5 alone. It was millions and millions and millions. So to even say that it's niche, it is niche, but these are dedicated people either rebuying the game or they just love the brand, or they love the JRPGs. So while it might be niche, it is very, they have cornered that market. Final Fantasy has already done it. They're forever now. So every JRPG is compared to a Final Fantasy. Even Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, everyone loves that game, and they're like, wow, this is the JRPG, this is the Final Fantasy game that I never got to play. This is the Persona game. But good for them. I mean, it works, and at least Sega and Atlas are doing quality remasters and not doing like cash grabs. Like they are really trying to do some different stuff with their spin-offs as well, even though I'm not into that. Like, it is the mainline kind of stuff. And I did play and beat Tactica, but man, what is it? It was a slog. It was a slog to get through. I was like, this is not, name alone is not going to mean quality. So it's like, it's Persona 5, but a completely different game. And I'm like, I was wrong. This is not for me.
I think you would have liked Strikers more than Tactica, if I'm being honest.
I heard it was much more. Oh, guys, I didn't even see that. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted. BT Maverick, thank you so much, dude. And Lotus Esprit, BT Maverick gifted 5 channel memberships. That is so nice of you, man. Gave you the Jagger Blaze, Alex, Rob, Chris, Ashtray Gaming, Starfield guy. Hey, thank you so much for doing that, BT. I really, really appreciate it. It's really nice of you. Lotus Esprit says 4 more to go. Yeah, I would love to keep streaming Silent Hill. I've just been so busy. I'm so busy right now. Like, I am at my desk every single day, all day long. I'm editing videos for weddings and all kinds of, and I had to go do this concert. Anyway, I would love to stream more. It's just that by the time I'm done doing that, I'm like, I don't feel like making videos. I don't feel like streaming. I don't feel like doing it. But anyway, I really appreciate it very, very much. The support is everything. CBT Maverick says, Red, Colt, and I will compare hairlines when you make it out to LA Fan Fest next year, and when we should just give up and shave it. Yes, you and Colt, just shave it. I'm bald, and it's so freeing. It's so freeing until I get onto that new product that DeMarco hears about every year. It's great. Hold on to your hair while you have it. There's no shame in using product to hold on to it. Anyway, King South says,
we can just call you the bald, the back bald boys.
Yes, Red Bald Renegade. Anyway, thank you guys so much. And DeMarco, I'm sure you don't have much to say about Persona, so we can move on to the next thing if you want. Cool. All right. And yeah, again, shout out to 30 people here hanging out with us. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate you. Let's talk about the next big RPG. I'm calling it the next big RPG because I'm a huge Witcher fan. As you guys know, I talk about Witcher all the time. I'm like one of those, I'm the #1 fan. Same with Mass Effect. But Dawnwalker, Blood of the Dawnwalker from oh God, what's the studio name?
Rebel Wolves.
Rebel Wolves Studio. They finally showed the game, and we got like a better idea of how it's going to operate. And it's so funny. This is one of those instances where when we saw it, we can talk about the details of the actual how the combat works, but besides that, everything else was exactly what I imagined in my head. Like the teleporting across rooftops and like the stealth mechanics and the feeding. I was like, it's literally everything that I was hoping would be in the game from what we saw. We didn't see everything. But DeMarco, did you have a chance to look at this? Did you watch the gameplay, the 20-minute gameplay?
I did. I saw. I think it was too early to show it off, if I'm being honest.
I agree with you.
Because they
yes.
even said, they were like, this is early alpha, but we wanted to show you exactly what it kind of looks like, and
Yeah.
I went, well, why didn't you just wait to show it when it was at least beta? That was a very weird decision to me. It wasn't as though I think that they want to keep some relevance. It seems as though, to me, their marketing strategy, since they revealed a trailer, they revealed it super early, that they're gonna kind of just try to be top of mind as much as possible, which is fine. It looked as though this is a game that's going to be very much. You could kind of look at Tainted Grail in a similar way. It's very much like you play Tainted Grail and you're like, okay, I'm really, or hell, take a look at the Mass Effect franchise, right? Mass Effect, I'm sorry, its gunplay is good, right? The hardcover shooter elements, it's good, but I don't necessarily like, people don't go play Mass Effect 1 because its gameplay is phenomenal, but it has exceptional characters, it has really good story, and it has great lore. I think Blood of the Dawnwalker is going to fall into a similar bucket. I don't think its gameplay is going to wow anybody, but to an extent, right? Because gameplay also does, in some degree, involve the choice and consequence. But I would bucket personally when I talk about it and I mention gameplay, I mean the actual like combat and stuff. When I talk about story, I mean the dialogue, the writing, the choice and consequence. That's just how I bucket the two, right? So for clarity, I think this is very much a game that's going to live and die by its story, by its choice and consequence, by the narrative, and by specifically the intrigue that gets built, by the way that you're able to interact with the story elements, as far as who do you talk to, who don't you talk to, who do you kill, who stays alive, how do you approach the situations, the time element, right? What decision? That's where this game will live and die. And you don't need the best visuals, you don't need the best animations, you don't need the best, to be honest, performances. You don't need the best game combat to do that.
And
so
which,
that was my takeaway.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it was very unique. I do want to talk about that real quick. Assassin, what did you think about what you saw? And we can deep dive into the systems after you give your thoughts.
If I'm being honest, I still haven't fully watched it all the way through, but, you know, from what I've seen, like, from its God of War-like gameplay, if I'm being honest, like, did anyone think, like, during the fight with the bandits, you know, in the form of attacking up, down, left, right, did anyone, besides myself, get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 vibes from that? Or was it just me?
I mean, it's very similar to, For Honor and Kingdom Come Deliverance. For Honor is much more forgiving because it telegraphs things a lot more. Kingdom Come, from what I've played and seen, it's much more like, get good, you really need to pay attention. This is much more like For Honor, from what I saw.
Okay, well, yeah, like I said, I didn't fully watch the video yet, but I'm definitely interested to see the rest of it, because, like I've said before, when it comes to RPGs, like, combat is secondary to me. It's all about the story, it's all about the characters that keep me invested in an RPG.
Right, like, as long as it's functional and it's getting you through it and it's not frustrating. Like, as long as you're not fighting
Exactly.
against systems. Yeah. I know, like, shout out to Bino Red Hood. I tried to give him some tips about The Witcher 3, because he was like, I'm frustrated with the combat, and I was sort of saying that with The Witcher 3, it's sort of like it does feel weird, where, like, it's not like an action RPG where you attack, you press the button, and you are attacking immediately. It's like you're pressing the button, and like a millisecond after, the action is queued, and it's sort of like you have to like wait. It's like, oh, and then the enemy, I'm gonna attack twice. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the dodge button because I know he's about to attack, and then you jump back. That sort of is kind of how it feels with this game. So a lot of people I saw, dude, if you go just look at the gameplay reveal trailer and look at the comments, 80% of people were like, the camera's too close. Fuck this camera. This camera, I'm making me sick. And I'm like, but guys, listen.
It's like the Arkham games. People made fun of the Arkham games because Batman takes up like on the camera. He's literally like this, taking up the screen.
God of War did the same thing.
God of War did the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
It always. I feel like it always looks worse than it plays.
Right.
Plus,
and it's not
those
until
games
you get
like have a
immersed
mechanic
into
to
it.
where you can. Didn't those
Sorry.
games like have a mechanic where you can actually pan out the camera too, just a little bit, to where they're not taking up the screen?
With the
they
Arkham
didn't.
games, the more enemies that appeared on
think the
screen,
Arkham-
the camera would automatically start to pull back. That's
Yeah, but
how they
automatically
handled
pan out.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
in combat,
sometimes
yes.
even when you don't get out of combat, when he's running, like it doesn't immediately go straight back towards his back until he like opens a door. Not immediately.
It kind of. I mean, it's game by game. But my whole point about this combat style, we were just talking about the precinct and me saying I want a closer camera. The game wasn't built that way. So imagine having a farther out camera with this type of combat system. You need the camera to be close to be able to see where the enemy is striking from. And yes, there is a reticle that points to left, up, down, or right where the enemy is going to be attacking from. But it's necessary for you to be what's the word? For you to be functional in combat to be able to be up close like that. Like that is just the type of combat that they're going for. A lot of people are making the comparison to Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it is like that, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as like unforgiving as Kingdom Come Deliverance goes. But it is unique, and I did not expect it. I did not expect that at all. I thought it was just going to be straight up just The Witcher, and I guarantee you they had conversations about that. Let's not just have a combat system that is just The Witcher 3 all over again. Let's try to be unique and also be fun at the same time. But yeah, I don't know. In chat, what did you guys think about the combat? Did you play For Honor? Did you play Kingdom Come? I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it. And I even tweeted out to the devs. I was like, and they don't care, but I just said, you know, hey, if people want the camera to be farther back, give us the option to mess with that in the settings. But don't lock anyone out of that, because I personally love it. God of War, even though people bitched about how close the camera is, they never messed with that. They never changed it. They never even gave you the option to change it. And I'm like, some people might have liked that, to have the camera pull out a little bit, but they never gave you the option. So hopefully they don't change it too much. I personally love, another thing that I saw people complaining about, it's so weird going from third to first person when you're using your abilities. I've never seen that. Like, whenever you bring up your ability wheel, you have this, like, it zooms in on the character that you're about to use the ability on, and you have like this time to think, and it's all in first person, and you can choose, and then it pulls back into third person. You use your blood boil ability or whatever. I thought it was really unique. I don't know. I liked it a lot. Like, it was just so different that I don't know. I liked it a lot. But what I will say about the animations, everything is you can tell it's very early on, because there's no smoothing at the beginning and end of animations. So what I mean by that is, whenever you go to turn, or you go to crouch, or stand back up, it's very much like, and I'm stood up, and now I'm crouched. There is no there is no smoothing in between animations. So like, especially whenever you're turning left and you're turning right, like, it just looks it just looks very janky. And not that that's a bad thing, but like DeMarco said, I think it's not going to hinge on the gameplay, the popularity and the love that people might have for this game. It's not going to be about the animations were perfect and the combat is perfect. I think it's just going to be about the uniqueness, and there is a lot of uniqueness to the game, with the time element, with you're a human in the daytime, and then at nighttime you go full on vampire. And I was so happy when I saw him pull out the claws, and I was like, yeah, oh my god. That's all I ever do. In Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the one from 21 years ago, I never use weapons. I never use guns or anything. I just use my claws, and I love it so much. Because you're a vampire. Like, you want to feel powerful, you know? You don't want to pull out a sword.
The only thing I didn't like was the use of I've never been a fan of these mechanics where it's like, oh, if you don't manage your you have a meter, and if your hunger, and if you don't manage your hunger, you might randomly strike out, and you might eat an important NPC and kill them because you need to feed on something. And I don't like, because I would like to think, I understand the mechanic of sort of, well, that incentivizes you to plan ahead and make sure you do feed, and so you got to plan and strategize. So I can respect that side of it, but I always like to think that if you're sitting there and it's like, oh, well, I'm talking to, I don't know, my sister in the game. Well, no, like I'm talking to my sister in the game, and then suddenly, oh, but you're really hungry, so now you're gonna gobble, you're just gonna like eat, right? And you're gonna, well, maybe sister's not a good example, but like, your love interest, and now you're gonna feed on your love interest in the game because they said there's gonna be romance. And now you feed on your love interest and they're dead. And you're like, oh, well, I think I would try to have some self-control in that situation. You'd be like, no, I need to leave now. Versus it just sort of forcing you to do that. I'm not personally a fan of that mechanic. I think there needs to be like a risk. Like I would like the idea that the game says, all right, you've waited too long. You didn't feed. So you can choose to not feed on this person. You could choose to, or you could choose not to, and you're going to take a really big penalty because you didn't, like a big one, because you didn't plan properly. But that's sort of you showing restraint in that moment, and you can only get away with that 1, maybe 2 times, instead of just like, nope, you didn't manage it. That NPC's dead.
I guess we'll have to see how it works, because I'm sure that it's much more forgiving than what they explained. Because they did say, like, if it gets too low and then you jump into a conversation, I don't know. It's like, does it have to be, like, past that 3, there's, like, 3 slots in your health bar. Like, so if you start a conversation and you're at the bottom, are you just always at risk of eating someone? Like, there's got to be more to it. I'm sure that they'll elaborate on that, but I agree with you. If it is that simple, that would be frustrating, but there's got to be more to it than that. Like, because it would suck to just be like, well, there's literally no one to feed on. It's almost the end of the night.
And this important NPC that I've been doing like hours worth of stuff for is the only one in front of me at the moment. So too bad that they're dead now.
Right, exactly.
And you go, well.
And they did specifically say, annoying. Like, you could immediately, like, in the middle of a cutscene, just flip the fuck out and just eat your friend. And you're like, I can't believe I do that, because they said that I can't remember the exact quote, I'm paraphrasing, but they said, like, they wanted you to feel like you don't have control because it is your curse. You know, it's like being like a werewolf. It's like if it's a full moon, you don't have any control of that. You have to figure out how to navigate, you know, how to navigate that situation and make it work somehow. But I am interested to see. I thought the shadow step was very cool. I was like, they have to have that in the game, and they 100% do. I was like, they got it. And Arcane loved it because it's shadow step from Dishonored. I love that. I love the and again, nothing looked great. It looked functional, like sliding down the wall. I was like, I see the bird shit on the wall. You can tell there's only certain walls you can slide down because they got like the white bird shit all over it. But I loved the feeding mechanic was really cool. It is 100% Vampire the Masquerade, straight up. Like, you can I'm sure you've seen it too, DeMarco. Probably maybe on
they took inspiration.
Yeah, like on Arcane, clearly. Whenever he streamed it, it's just like you can feed a little bit and they'll be like, or you can just kill them straight up. I love that. I love that they give you the choice. And I've wanted an RPG with that power fantasy for a long time, because I just don't do bad guy runs anymore. I just don't do it anymore. Like, I'll do like anti-hero, like I'll do some bad stuff, but not like evil stuff. But this game, you're a vampire. I might just do it just to see. I don't know. I'm just really excited about it. But yeah, Assassin, did you see all the gameplay mechanics with the feeding and stuff like that? Do you have any thoughts about the actual features that we saw?
No, like I said, I just saw like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it. But...
Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But what do you think about what we just described?
Honestly, it just seems like something. It just seems like something I need to see. I'm more of a visual learner, so you know,
That's fair.
It's what you guys are talking about sounds cool. I just need to actually see it in action before I go, oh, that's actually kind of cool. One thing I did, maybe you guys did talk about, maybe you guys already did talk about it, but the time mechanic. It's more of a resource, isn't it, than a detriment, right?
Yeah, it's not.
That's one of the things that Holly was concerned about.
Yeah, you're like, you can run around and do whatever you want. You could literally spend 50 hours in like a certain time segment, and you're not running out of time. You have to pass the time. Like, time will pass.
It's a resource. The best way to explain it, and this is how they said it in the demo, is it's a resource, and you choose to spend time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Like
certain
Persona.
quests will be like, this is gonna cost 2 hours to do this quest, and you go, okay.
Yes. Yep, it's exactly right. And you can see like the little time. Whenever you watch the demo, Assassin, you'll see there are slots. There's like 10 slots or whatever in each day, and so you have all these time slots within the day that you can do stuff. So I was really relieved to see that, because I was like, I don't want to feel rushed, and you're not going to be rushed. You're not going to be rushed. It's just that certain things will progress time, just like Persona games. So you and I are very familiar with how that works. So yeah, but looks really great. The again, the combat is going to be make or break for a lot of people, but it is very unique. I love the voice actor, by the way, for Cohen. The lip syncing is not good at all, so hopefully they figure that out, because it's really not great. But again, I'm not saying anything bad about it.
It's alpha.
It's alpha. Yeah, it's very early.
Which is
on.
why I think it was too soon to show it off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think they just needed to show something, because they've been in development for a few years now, and they have a pedigree to live up to. And I don't think that they're going to disappoint. But then again, The Witcher 3 launched really, really rough, and look at it now. So, and this is just the state of games now. People try to meet this AAA expectation, and it never truly pans out unless you have millions of dollars and tons of resources like Kojima or you know, Naughty Dog or whatever. You know, those kind of studios can just do whatever they want. They have freedom. They don't have too many deadlines, because the publishers rely on them so heavily because of their pedigree. Yeah, they know that whatever they put out, it's going to sell. But then again, Sony did cancel Factions, so I don't know. So I don't know. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Dawnwalker?
Need to see more.
Great.
Let them cook.
Let them cook. Please take your
Let 'em
time.
cook.
I think 2026 is still too early. I'm not gonna lie. I seriously think they need like another year and a half, 2 years. I'm just being real. Like, just from what I saw. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But I'm sure that they have to meet expectations for investors and all that political bullshit. So that's probably why it's just how it works.
Political.
Well, it's just business, you know. It's just like they have to meet the deadline and do whatever. I don't know how that works, but we didn't have Dave Goodrich on again for him to explain how that works. Yeah, chat. Let me know what you think. See, Jacob Tuba says that's why you always need to have a side chick ready to eat. Wait, that didn't sound right. Yeah, yeah. That'd be so funny. Your final task is free to. Oh God, I ate. Yeah. Whoops. Arcane says I gotta sit down and watch the gameplay, but from what I've heard, it sounds incredible. Yeah, and you'll see what we mean, Arcane. Like the bone, we talked about bad bones, good bones with games. This game has really good bones.
This has good bones.
And say, holy shit, this could.
It's
be
like
really special.
Dishonored. It's like Dishonored and Deathloop a bit, and then you mix in a little bit of Witcher in there. It's actually kind of neat.
That's a really good comparison. Yeah. And again,
like
I
the
love
Deathloop
the
time mechanics and like how the environments and stuff changes during the time of day. So it has a Deathloop time mechanics mixed, which is that it was the same thing too. It's like I'm gonna choose to go to this zone and then it's gonna progress the day because I went to this zone instead of that one. So it has a Deathloop time mechanics, Dishonored powers, the God of War / Witcher style combat mixed with the Witcher, or let's just go with the God of War combat with the Witcher storytelling, dark fantasy.
Right, exactly. Noise Mofo says that presentation was so awful. I don't want to see it again until it comes out. Yeah, I'm sure it'll look way better. Because from what I understand is that the reason that they show alpha builds instead of what's more present is because that is a vertical slice. So they work on this alpha build of the game to give an idea of the game. Whenever they're closer, they'll
It's
show.
more stable is the big thing. So
Yeah.
when they prepare for like a big, this has always been the case, but when they prepare for like a big demo such as that, because that was a big showcase, they're going to go with an older build because they know that it's stable, that has less bugs, that when they're trying to get footage for the game, they're going to actually be able to get footage for the game because it's been iterated. But when they introduce a new version, whether that's like version 0.3 or version 0.32, right?
Yeah.
That can introduce a whole new slew of things, and then they're trying to get footage and they're like, I can't use this scene because this problem's going on and the developer's over here and this texture's missing because of something, and the texture team hasn't talked to the nav meshing team, and so therefore there's a lot. I think there's too many armchair developers, not enough people know about it. If you want to see more of this stuff, honestly, look at like the development of Sky Oblivion. You can learn a lot by watching those guys. When you see like the 3D and you don't see all of it, but like you see just the nav meshing guys. Do you even know what nav meshing is? Do you know what nav meshing is?
I've heard the word.
It's like when, so like in a Bethesda game, you think of like how do the NPCs know how to follow you? How do they know where to go? Like, why aren't they just walking over the top of mountains and like just going in a straight line if you sprint ahead of them? Because someone has to manually, like, and it's gonna work differently for different games, right? But like at least for the creation engine, they're putting down, and it does automatically, but then you need to go in and fine tune it and say like, okay, this is the section that the NPC can walk in, like they can't walk over here. And they're literally putting like this grid of triangles around the whole, you know, so
Yeah.
God forbid that they're trying to do a build that messed with the nav meshing, and now they're trying to capture footage and the NPCs are like going off in wrong directions, or they're getting stuck on things because it's not nav meshed properly. People don't understand the amount. It's insane that games get made at all.
I have seen this. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but like pathing for NPCs, obviously, like we know what that is. But there is this in a lot of games. There is this, especially with games with NPCs, like where like, oh, sorry, let me get out of your way. Where there is this like invisible thing in front of you, a grid that's like way out in front of you. So that way, like whenever you're walking towards an NPC, in some games, like you said, they will get out of your way because that invisible thing in front of you, like you have like this like line in front of you, like a lot of the times. And so whenever you get near an NPC or whatever, and it collides with their pathing, they're like, oh, gotta get out of the way, up. Yep. I can't remember what video showed that. I think it actually might have been a GTA 3 or like old GTA video that I watched someone break down. But yeah, this kind of stuff. Making games is really hard. This is really hard. That's why I hate when people attack devs. They're like, just fix it. And it's like, oh man, it's not that easy. Speaking of which, Stalker 2 just got a big update today. It's getting an update tomorrow. Really excited for that. It adds a ton of stuff. So that game's getting better and better. It's taking a lot of time to get that on the ground. But all this talk, Jacob 2 Plus says, all this talk made me think of that zombie survival horror medieval game that was previewed. Oh, yeah. That's, I can't remember what it's called, but people were like, that game's fake. It's fake. I can't remember what the hell it's called. God Save Bethlehem or God Save London. It's something like that. It is something like that. It's like God Save
the Queen.
Belgium or something. Yeah, it's something like that. I cannot think of what it's called, but it is something like that. I'm dying. Anyway, but thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships, BT Maverick, and the super chat from Lotus Esprit. Really, really appreciate you guys, and shout out to all the channel members. You guys are amazing. I cannot thank you enough. God Save Birmingham. Thank you. I was close. God Save Birmingham. Yep. Yeah, that's going to be something. That's literally the name of the game. I actually am really excited to see it. Oh, Game Seeker, what's up? Thank you. $5 super chat. He says, where do you find those Nuka-Cola bottles in Starfield? Someone posted a pic on Twitter. Had a few on a desk. I don't know. I'm sure that there are some Easter eggs, but I don't know if I found one yet. Again, there's so much that I haven't done in Starfield, and I have like a million hours on it. I don't know. There's so much that I haven't done. It's a mod. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But thank you so much for the Canadian 5. Really, really appreciate it, man. I'll have to check that out. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna go look that up. But hey, Assassin, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, @Assassin52. If I'm being... So, before Red came in and started screaming at us that he's trying to fix things,
yep.
Me and DeMarco, we actually downloaded Among Us. So if anyone
Yes!
from the chat would like to join us after the show is done, or maybe an hour afterwards, so DeMarco can actually eat and be a stable human being. Yeah. Come join us for Among Us. It's only like less than a gigabyte to download, and it's pretty cheap to buy.
Or, boom, there you go, chat. Just dropped a code for Among Us for Xbox.
Whoa!
Perfect time.
Oh, hey, joy.
So if you don't have,
I don't know
Among Us,
why,
like
dude.
to.
I have been so I just want a good social. I've been in the mood for. I know nobody cares about Among Us anymore. I get it. It's out of date. It's not hip. It's not cool anymore. I don't know why. We played once. I had a lot of fun because I never played it when it came out, and I've been in the mood for a social deduction thing. That one's really fun when you're yelling at everybody and you get it complete, or like even when you're the murderer and you get it wrong and you just completely mess up because you don't know what you're doing. Like that's what I was playing. I was like trying to be sneaky about it, like I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do the thing. I was having such a fun. I was having such a fun time with it. I had no idea what I was doing. And the only person that wants to do Phasmophobia, Jacob, is Red. So maybe the two of you can sync up and do it.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I don't know why you.
Nobody
don't
else has any
have
interest in that one.
I don't understand. It has
Zero.
It has
None.
everything. I don't get it. And it's scary. Look at the vein in my neck. I'm so mad.
It just looks boring. It just looks really.
Anyway, but there you go, chat.
You're the one that says we don't reach out. You're the one that says that we don't play anything with you. We're doing it, and the first thing that you say is, "But why don't we play this game instead?"
You are the first person to do that too. Yeah, we'll be like, "Let's play this game," and then you'll be like, "What about this one?" And it's like, "Well, I suggested this one for a reason."
I think it's just the nature of just playing games. It's like either I don't have
Like,
it,
you
or
want
it's
us to
like
reach
I'm
out?
not really in the mood for that.
Like, we don't reach out.
I get it.
We do, and then we get chastised for it. So,
I
do you want us to invite you to more shit or not?
I don't chastise anyone. I'm just like, I don't know.
So, do you want us to invite you or not?
Yeah.
Because me
I
and
don't know.
DeMarco don't mind playing with Chad and just leaving you out of it if you're going to be a sourpuss.
Yeah, please.
I
I would love to play Payday. That'd be great.
I want to do Among Us. I've been so
I
in
want
the
to do
mood
Among
for it.
Us.
Assassin wants
I
to do
want
Among
anyone in
Us.
chat to do Among Us. But
Fark
they'll need
you
access
said
to
Fark said he would do it.
like they'll need access to the Discord though.
There's a code for it right there, so someone else can join in too. Red hasn't said he wants to do it. I don't think Red wants to.
No, I do. We just need like a lot of people. So if you guys want to do it,
That's already that with you would be 5. That's 5. That's we're getting there. You need like 2 more. 7 to 8. You need like 2 or 3 more.
yeah, we'll figure.
Holly would probably do it. That's one right there.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, DeMarco, where can people find you?
Check me out right here on the Renegade Run podcast at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also on my channel, DeMarco Dude, you can follow me there. I should be returning back to live stream this week. So hopefully things have calmed down a bit for me. So I should be able to at least get back to the stream. So if you want to hang out there, 6:30 p.m. if I'm able to, 6:30 p.m. Thursdays Eastern Standard Time on my channel, which is linked in the description.
And if you guys pay him $50, he'll do the whole podcast without a shirt on.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Do you remember Review Tech USA,
Yes.
the YouTube channel?
Yes,
That's
of
what
course.
he would do.
The,
he would do
the cucumber guy.
He would do his live stream. He got really weird. He He would do his live streams, and I think if he got like a certain dollar amount super chat, then he just did the rest of the stream with the shirt off.
Alex does the same thing.
Yeah, I would do that. I would be totally down for doing that. Anything to pay bills and keep the lights on, I will do it. Okay. Let's not open that door, though. I'm kidding. Or am I? I don't know. But yeah, in Phasmophobia, we will play it because I'll buy it for everyone and then guilt trip everyone. It'd be great. So there also is a $5 game version. It's called Pacify on Xbox. And
if I don't want to play Phasmophobia, I don't want to play the knockoff version of Phasmophobia.
But it could be dumb. It could be like dumb fun. This game is so stupid, kind of fun. Like
all right, I got another. I just got another person who was down for Among Us. So now we need like 2 more.
Who?
Someone I know. I have friends outside of you guys. I have friends.
Oh, because you don't talk about it a lot. We've been worried about you.
I didn't say I have a lot of friends. I said.
I'm right there with you. I don't have.
We're like, was he lying when he went to Miami? Did he just go by himself, or?
Yeah, well, that'd be okay. That'd be fine. But anyway, you guys can find me on Twitter, Red Wolf Renegade on Twitter. The links in the description are in the description, below in the description. You can find us there in the description where the links are. That would be great. If you click on all of us all at the same time, subscribe, like us, follow us, and do all that kind of stuff. We appreciate you guys so much. It's been a fun show. And I'm going to go edit out the beginning of the show where I was screaming at everyone. Not really. I'm going to leave it there. But thank you guys so much. We will see you next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Goodbye, everyone.
Existence is pain, guys. Remember that.
I think you need a new line. I don't